There is a moment when you realize you have been asleep. Not the kind of sleep that restores you, but the kind that keeps you moving through your days like water, finding the lowest ground, choosing ease over direction, comfort over truth. I have watched many lives unfold across long stretches of time, and I can tell you this without ceremony or drama. The awakening is always available. It is waiting, the way spring waits inside the coldest ground. You may not have noticed when it happened, the gradual narrowing of your world, how you stopped asking certain questions, how you learned to settle into the shape of what was expected and called it maturity, how the fire that once lit you from the inside became something you spoke about in the past tense, like a country you used to live in. This is not failure. This is what happens when life asks too much, and we give it everything, including the parts we needed to keep. But I am here to tell you something old and patient. You are not finished, not even close. There is a difference between a life being over and a life being paused. Most people living inside a pause believe they have reached the end. They make peace with a smaller version of themselves and wonder why the peace never fully arrives. They do not realize that the restlessness they feel is not a problem to be managed. It is a signal. It is the deep part of you refusing to accept the ceiling others have drawn around your potential. Waking up does not require a dramatic moment. It does not require losing everything or reaching some specific bottom. Sometimes it begins with a single honest question asked in a quiet room. What do I actually want? Not what would be sensible. Not what would make others comfortable. Not what fits neatly into the story already in motion. What do you actually want from the one life you have been given? Sit with that question. Do not rush past it. I have seen people transform in the middle of ordinary Tuesdays. No crisis, no lightning, just the decision to stop postponing the version of themselves they always meant to become. The world tends to celebrate dramatic transformation because it makes a better story, but most genuine change is quieter than that. It is the decision made in private, in the space between what you have been doing and what you know you should do. It is the small, honest turn that redirects everything downstream. You carry more than you acknowledge, the weight of years of suppressing what mattered, the accumulated cost of living for everyone except yourself, the subtle grief of goals abandoned because someone told you to be realistic. These things do not disappear simply because you stopped naming them. They live in the body, in the hesitation before you speak, in the habit of making yourself smaller in rooms where you could take up space. Part of waking up is feeling the weight of all that honestly, and then choosing deliberately to set it down. You do not need to understand the full path ahead. The full path is not available from where you are standing, and demanding to see it before you move is one of the most elegant ways the mind has invented to keep you still. You need only see enough to take one genuine step, and then the next piece reveals itself. This is not a matter of faith in any particular doctrine. It is simply how forward motion works. The world outside will not pause to make room for your becoming. It will continue to demand, to distract, to reward busyness and penalize stillness. And yet you are allowed to choose differently. The alarm that has been sounding inside you, the persistent sense that something important is waiting, that is not anxiety. That is clarity wearing an unfamiliar face. Listen to it. What would change if you stopped waiting for the right conditions? What conversation would you finally have? What work would you actually begin? What relationship would you let go of or deepen if you stopped treating your life as a rehearsal for some future moment that keeps failing to arrive? The conditions will never be perfect. They were never meant to be. You are the one who makes the moment right by choosing to meet it fully. There is something I want you to understand about courage. It is not the absence of doubt or fear, or the certainty that things will work out. It is the willingness to move in spite of those things. Every person who has built a life they were proud of did so while uncertain, while afraid, while carrying questions they could not yet answer. They moved anyway, not recklessly but with intention, with the knowledge that staying still was also a choice, and one with consequences just as significant. You have been given something rare, not luck, not talent, not the perfect circumstances. You have been given awareness, the ability to look at your own life from the outside and ask whether it matches what you know to be true inside. Many creatures exist. Only a few stop to examine the nature of their existing. Use it. This is not about becoming a different person. The person you are contains everything needed. What you are being asked to do is become more fully yourself, to stop editing out the parts that feel too large or too unusual or too difficult to explain, to stop shrinking into versions of yourself that fit more comfortably into other people's expectations. The world does not actually need another person living cautiously. It needs you, the real version, the one who still remembers what used to matter before you learned to be careful. The morning comes whether you are ready or not. Time keeps its own pace and waits for nothing. But within that movement, there is room for you to choose something different from what yesterday required. There is room for a different way of moving through the hours, a different quality of attention, a different answer to the question of what this life is for. You already know something is asking for your attention. You have felt it. That is why you are here, listening to this, in this moment, on this particular day. That feeling is not accidental. This is your sign, not as something external arriving to tell you what to do, but as recognition of what you already know. You were never meant to live half awake. You were meant to be here fully, present, alive to the possibilities still available, which are more than you currently believe. The path begins wherever you are standing, not later. Here, this is what waking up means. Choosing with full knowledge to live forward from this moment. The rest follows from that single choice, made honestly and made now.